What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So I was wrong. I may have been wrong. Just a little bit. I'm just messing with you guys, but I might have been a bit wrong. Alright. I made a video where I was talking about woke coin, crypto and all that, right? And I was kind of implying that it was a bad idea and a gamble, which I think it is a gamble. Now, is it a bad idea? Well, I think it's a bad idea to put most of your resources into it, you know? I think it's a bad idea if you're looking at it like how people look at winning the lottery. You know, you go out, you get your paycheck, and you go and you buy the lotto ticket. I don't think I've ever done that, but I'm just saying, people go and do that. And their idea is, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to blow up, and I'm going to be able to quit my job and buy some big house, have a boat and stuff, maybe get a lady for those who are single. They have that sort of emboldenment behind them, you know what I mean? And I think that's really, really dangerous to pursue it in that way. And from the little I've observed, it just seems like a lot of the guys who are into it, that's kind of what they have in mind. Like they're working for somebody else, no offense, but they're kissing some other man's ass. All right, they're going in, day out. I mean, I understand why they want to get out of there. All right, I haven't had to kiss a man's ass since 2010, and even then I didn't really have to. I mean, it was a part-time job. Like I could have gotten another job with equal pay somewhere else, but I guess that was the last time I had to kiss a man's ass. So I understand why these guys are so desperate to get out of that. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of things there's a list that has to be made, basically. And you have to abide by that list to an extent in order to get out of that kissing another man's ass situation, if you're in that. But, I'm glad that there's people doing that. We need the ass kissers, all right? Because they keep the cogs going. And you need the cogs to be going. You need the guys who are working at the restaurants. Maybe you don't need them as much, but you need the guys who are doing the construction. You know what I mean? You need the guys who are working on the roads. You need the guys who are doing all that shit. Doing the shit at the computer. You know what I mean? Now, of course, you can run your own business doing that. So there's always opportunity. Like say that you work in construction and you have to do shits with the roads or whatever. You could always strive to run your own business, But this isn't about that. We live in a day where shit's really fucked up, isn't it? Like, it just happened a couple days ago. The pew-pew, this and that. The ducking around, this and that. And then you got all these reactions, whoa, what would have happened if it would have worked, What would the future of our economy and civilization potentially look like then? We'd have some rat in office. You know what I mean? And then you have like, everyone's basically on both sides of the spectrum are kind of, like their feathers have been ruffled quite a bit, Like the libtards wish that he would have died, you know what I mean? And they're all pissed off. They're like, oh, wow, this close that was, da-da-da. how nice it would be to be in a libtard utopia with all this woke shit running rampant and inflation skyrocketing and our civilization descending to hell. You know what I mean? And then you got the other side who are like, oh my God, what if you would have died? They're like, there'd be some rat in office. I mean, I don't really know. You know, I haven't been too involved in it. And in terms of the sanctity of her future, I don't really have much of a dog in the fight. All right. I haven't reproduced partly for that reason. You know, I just don't have to worry about all that bullshit. You know, there's enough to worry about. But there's a danger, I think, also when you stoop to that level. All of a sudden, what is there to worry about? You start worrying about shit you probably don't have to worry about, you know? But yeah, this is coming from a guy who I don't really have too much of a stake in the future. I mean, I would like my next potential 50 years, let's say, max, to be relatively smooth sailing. But in terms of the direction of civilization, you know what I mean? I don't really give a fuck what happens after I die. And so that's kind of that. But yeah, with that being said, what happens now is pretty important still. You know, I want to be able to live comfortably. I want groceries to be cheaper. You know what I mean? I want gas to be cheaper. If gas goes down, everything goes down. That's how it's going to work. Just watch. It's going to take a minute, and it's going to come in tiers. But gas goes down, everything goes down. But, you know, and I want prosperity. You know, I want people to, I want them to keep them cogs spinning. All right. But yeah, it got me thinking a little bit. Was I wrong? To a degree. In just my fervor just against these digital woke coins, you know. And the thing about it is the digital coins, the cryptocurrencies, they rely on the grid, okay? It's not really an FU to the government because you're putting all your eggs in the basket of the powers and principalities that be. You know what I mean? It requires energy to even exist. And that even differentiates it from the US dollar. At least the damn dollar, you can have the piece of paper in your hand, you know? And yeah, they could say, well, the crypto, you got the little hub things. Or what do you call them? Little hub things that you put it on the thing. But that is still backed only by all the digital shit on the web. So if all that digital shit goes down, or if it's regulated, broken up, then the value of that little hub is going to deplenish vastly to potentially zero. All right. And yeah, the same could happen with the US dollar, which is why I thought it was a good idea to put some of that paper money into things like silver. All right, check that out. There's a 32 ounce, a kilo is what that's called. Nice and thick, nice and heavy. And the thing is, this stuff has been valuable since the beginning of freaking time, you know? Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, it's used today in technology and medicine, so it's actually more valuable and useful than ever before. Even if all that shit goes away, this was the most valuable commodity, one of them, silver and gold, for thousands of years before electricity was even a thing, you know? So, I mean, and if your currency gets destroyed or converted over, you could hold this shit and get the new currency with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not going to do you any good in the transition period, which is why you need stuff like this. You know, I think that's a good investment too. And boomsticks. I have so many boomsticks, I started selling a couple of them. Well, I thought I was going to have to go pay for a surgery. It was going to cost me 20 grand. I got a boo-boo in the gym. All right. And nobody here wanted to help me out. But I mean, yeah, so I sold a couple boom booms, but I mean, I had too many. All right. I mean, shit, I have one right here. You know, like I got boomsticks all over this. I don't boomsticks, you know, this stuff, food storage. But yeah, when it comes to cash and the woke coins, I don't know. I might look into a little bit of woke coins. All right. Probably just the main one. I'll look into the main one. I bought some of it before. I never sold it. Just bought a little tiny bit. because that's how I roll. I was just going to buy a little tiny bit. I like really diversifying my risks, you know what I mean? And risk reward probabilities or whatever. But one thing I think that's really important is to have 6 months of saved cash. All right. And yeah, I know it's going to lose in value, but it gives you a sort of freeing mentality where you can then take some other risks with woke coins and things like that. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to have saved money in the bank, 6 months of your living expenses. So you got to make a little list. You're going to be like, what's it cost me to live? What's it cost for my car insurance? What's it cost for the groceries? All the other insurances and shit like that. The stupid little bills that I've committed to that I probably shouldn't have, like Netflix or whatever else. The mortgage, or the rent. I try to keep mine very, very slim, no matter how much I'm making, and I hope to do that ongoing for the rest of my freaking life. To save up for a rainy day or whatever, or to minimize risk. To minimize expenses, because expenses suck. Those ongoing things. I remember I learned this early on. I would see my parents buying shit with loans and all that, and it just stressed me out. I was like, really? How much was this boat? This was like in the 90s. Like, oh yeah, it was 40 grand. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you had like 40 grand. How'd you do that? Did you write a check or something? I didn't really know how this shit worked. He was like, no, you pay it back. I was like, oh. I was like, so we're riding this thing around that you're like, oh, money on. And there's probably interest, And then a year later, you don't even give a shit about that thing. Boats suck. If I have a little canoe, and I don't even, actually I shouldn't say that, but I have a little canoe, all right? And you can be a bit more concealed with that in terms of what you have to pay out every year. You know what I mean? You have to pay a little less, I guess is what I'll say. If you just have a canoe, and there's less shit that can go wrong. It doesn't have a motor, and it could get a hole in it, but you could just patch that shit, But I have a canoe. I haven't used it in years, and boats. I mean, I don't got to go on about boats and shit, but cars, it's a big one. I have Toyota, mid-2000s Toyotas, all right? They're like the most reliable vehicles on the market, and I do like that era, the mid-2000s. You got to check for their frames for rust. That's pretty much it. But both have the V8s. They both have 240,000+ miles on them. And they drive like new, all right? I got these things for like $3,500. I bought one of them bought the other one for $5,500 cash. And even then I was hesitant. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna give this person, at first, it was the first one, which was like $3,700. I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna give $3,700 for this thing. This is like such a gamble. While at the same time, people are out there getting $30,000, $40,000 loans on their cars, you know what I mean? That's just how cautious I was, and to an extent still am. But then a couple years later, I handed out $5,500 for my Sequoia. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I'm just making this up. Yeah, these numbers should be between me and whoever else. But I mean, basically, you can get them for cheap if you shop right. You can the cost benefit analysis is far exceeds what you can get on this new plastic garbage that's like 50, 60 grand with interest, you know what I mean? And they have all sorts of problems. And the more expensive a vehicle is, the more expensive the insurance is, because they have to protect that supposed asset. But you got to make a list on making those good decisions. But yeah, when it comes to 6 months of living expenses, it gives you freedom. And then if you lose your job, if you have a job, or if you lose your income, you could sit back and you could think, you could start scheming again, okay, I just lost, my income was completely cut off today, but I have 6 months worth of living expenses saved. I could sit on my ass, go back and forth to the grocery store, once or twice a week and live like that for 6 months and still pay my bills, still pay the internet, still pay gas and electric, still pay my living, still pay for my car and car insurance, still pay for my cell phone bill and my wife's, you know what I mean? That's the best way to go. And I'm pretty sure very few people do that. Isn't it like 90% of Americans don't have like $500 in their checking account or savings? It's pretty pathetic. And that sounds like a ongoing cycle of stress. Because that's exactly what it is. But I'm curious, what do you guys have to think about these woke coins? Let me know in the comments below. All right, because I'm thinking maybe I should get a little bit more of that Bitcoin, you know, with the uncertainties that lie ahead. I guess my concern is we're going to have more things, you know, like and especially in this year, this election year. Things are just a hell of a lot more volatile, and who knows what things are to come, you know? Like, what if the guy gets in office, you know? In a lot of ways, that'll probably be a really, really good thing in the long run. But what's it going to look like in that short season? You know what I mean? Like, the powers of the world are going to hate the United States. And what is that going to do to the dollar? You know what I mean? You're gonna have to break some eggs to make that omelet when it comes to what are we gonna do about this currency, about this fake dollar that's been inflated into oblivion, that's been used to manipulate the world markets. You know what I mean? It seems like we're headed toward uncertain times. I mean, that's why I bought some of this shit. You know, there's a little gold coin right there, and I bought this at like $1,800. And now it's about $2,400. All right. And I bought silver. This hasn't really made me much money. I bought this stuff at like 27 an ounce. It's at like 31 right now or something like that. So, I mean, but I wanted storage of value, you know, is what the point is behind this stuff. It's not making you money, unless if these idiots keep printing money to oblivion, then you could time it right and actually make money and buying power by just buying and selling it. You know what I mean? Because you got to do it on the spikes and the lulls and all that. But that's not really what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to keep my income coming in and just preserving some wealth. You know what I mean? That's kind of the idea behind it. But that's the thing with the woke coins. I think people are shooting at it like it's a lotto ticket. You know what I mean? And that can be dangerous. I'll be honest with you guys. I put down a bet one time. All right. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. It was the first time that I put down money on a bet, to my understanding. And I planned for it to be the last time. I bet $600. You know, it wasn't a lot, but I mean, it was enough. And I was about to bet more. Like a complete fucking idiot. And thank the creator that I didn't. And I would like to not do that again. I mean, I don't know. I hope I have the strength, you know, and I'm asking the creator, give me the strength that I don't bet again, you know, and to an extent, this is kind of like betting, is when you buy the cryptos, when you buy when you make any investment, I guess to an extent, it's a bet, but when it comes to just, oh yeah, how is this event going to go, or who's going to win this, you know what I mean? And that was a bad idea, and I learned. I mean, I lost the money. I still might have been right, but I lost the money is how things went. I don't want to get into those details, but you know, it sucked dick. And I mean, I guess I was relieved to an extent that I didn't put more into it, but I would like to never do that again. Just too risky. I don't like taking those risks. You know, I don't work for somebody else, and I don't want to have to go back to the plantation. You know, I mean, I was in the plantation, like I said, in about 2010 or something, was maybe the last year I spent in the plantation. I was working about 30 hours a week. And I don't want to do that again. So it's important. Yeah, I know, oh, you could get rich potentially. What if you put a bunch of money into this? I ain't looking to blow up like that, you know? I'm looking for the slow climb, the self-preservation, and I think to most people's best interest, that's what they should do too, is look into the slow climb, the self-preservation, and the thoughts of how could I eliminate my bills? You know what I mean? How could I have less bills? I mean, no matter how much, and then you're making more money, and then you think, how could I eliminate more bills? You know, it's kind of the mindset that I'm in and that I've been in for a long time. I've splurged here and there. I bought some speakers in my home theater. Just last month, I spent $550 on surround speakers. I spent 500 some bucks on the center channel. So about $1,000 of just stupid toys. But nonetheless, that's not really a habit that's good to get into, and I try to keep those things far and few between, you know. But what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the cryptos and all that? What do you think is going to happen with them in these in this coming season? You know what I mean, of election and all that. What do you think is going to happen with the U.S. dollar? It's just fucking crazy. But anyway. Thank you guys for coming by. Like this video if you will. Subscribe to the page. Hit the bell so you're notified next time I post a video. Blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. Thank you to my patrons. May you have many wives. May your finances be blessed. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace be with you.